Hello, this is Unknown Voidcat, and welcome back to another SNKRX video. Last video, I don't even know what we did, because I actually haven't made a SNKRX video in quite some time. I've been a little too preoccupied playing FPL in Darkest Dungeon, and also Brotato, that I actually haven't made a SNKRX video in a quite time, which I think is quite the shame, because SNKRX is honestly such a good game. So I think I'm gonna have to play it today. And I'm not only gonna play it today, but I'm gonna win today. I'm gonna beat the, what was it, like 3 or 4 videos in a row now of SNKRX I've not won on New Game Plus 2. I'm breaking that. Today I will win. And what will I win with? And it could be warriors or sorcerers. I've done too many videos of warriors that kept failing. I want to do something different. I want to do like a cursor. Yep. Boom. Immediately a cursor start. That's what we're going to do. Cursor Voider. So this one is a mercenary too, which means, yeah, this is the one that afflicts enemies with death. So today's goal is to beat New Game 2, which I haven't beat yet. I think I've done, 3, 4, maybe 5 videos on New Game Plus 2, and I'm not won yet. In fact, I don't even know if I've beaten the second boss, which is a little sad, but that's mostly because I was playing like classes that I'm not as used to. Like I was playing mostly warrior and like cursing classes, which I'm not as used to in comparison like sorcerers and rangers. So technically, if you think about it, some of those videos, I was also playing mages, which I am somewhat used to. Well, actually, I'm not used to specifically mages, but mages are pretty similar to like sorcerers and stuff, and how they attack. So honestly, that's just an excuse. Let's be honest. I was just doing bad. That's really what's happening. Except for the warriors. Warriors, I actually do have an excuse, because those are actually like pretty substantially different in comparison to a lot of the classes, due to the fact that the warriors have to get so close, which does require that you have to like pay a little bit more attention with how you act, so you don't get absolutely owned. It's kind of similar to like when I was playing Doctor as Brotato, and I was using only like the scissors, doing like a melee only playthrough. Like I had to dodge a lot better than when I was playing the King, when I was using ranged weapons. Like, you know, both kind of similar in the aspect. Both the games are similar aspect, where if you're doing melee over ranged, you gotta be a lot more careful, because you're way closer to the enemy's attack range, and you can very easily take a lot of damage if you don't get those like tight dodges down properly. Like, see, took damage there because I did not, give the enemy enough room. I didn't like give the enemy enough space. Which honestly, I don't even know why I'm that close to the enemy. I'm literally playing a cursor unit. This is the ranged unit. I'm not playing the warrior right now. That's a little stupid, but I know now. And it doesn't really matter to make these mistakes in the early wave. Well, technically it does. If you think about it from like a mental standpoint, actually making mistakes in the first early waves is actually bad, even though they don't do much damage, because it's kind of like setting up. It's kind of like throwing off your game, because like if you keep messing up the early waves, you might mess up in the late waves, because you're like used to being able to mess up. And that's gonna be a restart. Oof, that is sad. I got cut off by those green guys running right into me. I guess we're doing a builder run today. Cursor run? Nah, we're not doing a cursor run. It's actually a builder run. The curse run was just like a warm-up. This is the real run. We got a sentry placed down. This is real good. We got like a 3-cost builder right off the start too. We got a sentry right off the start is amazing. And all we gotta do is get like the guy who places like the mines, the guy who places the little tom-toms, and then the healer who places the healing stations, and that'll be amazing. Then also getting the thing that also be great, like I really think it'd be amazing if I get that power up that lets you, what's the power up again? It's been a bit of time since I played this game. It's been like a few weeks or two. There's a power up that I think makes it so that all your building stuff from like builders activate twice. And I remember that being a power up. So getting that would also be really good. So I probably should hopefully get that. Hopefully that happens. Hopefully I get lucky. And I can't remember if there's any other builder specific power-ups. I don't think there is. Because most classes only have like maybe 1 or 2 power-ups to that specific class. You know, they're not always going to be as lucky as like the cursors, who have like a bunch of power-ups specific to them. Like the cursors got like that, you know, if you apply this many curses do damage, all curses do this extra damage. Like cursors kind of have and also the thing that makes the DOTs do extra damage. Like cursors are honestly one of the most favored classes when it comes to like power-ups. Like, they have a lot of good power-ups. Though technically every class has at least one. Though some are not as good as others. Like if you remember me talking about from like one of my last NERCs videos when I was talking about critters, like the critter or whatever, I can't remember the name of the specific class. So, you know, the class that spawns critters, they have like, I feel like they have like some of the worst power-ups to their class. The reason why is that their power-ups directly contradict the class and like the class's upgrade, because when you get a certain amount of like the swarm units, that's what their name is, I think, something like that. When you get a bunch of different like swarm units that spawn critters, the bonus that you get is that if you have like blank amount, I can't remember, like 3 or 2 or something, your critters will have extra HP, which is like, oh, that's nice. Extra HP means they do more hits. The problem is, one of their power-ups makes it so that every time a critter hits an enemy, instead of doing damage, it immediately blows up. Which is like, cool, it does extra damage because it blows up. Except, when it blows up, it immediately just blows up no matter what its HP is. Meaning that all that extra HP that you get from your like boost from having a bunch of critter, you know, swarm units, is lost now, because the enemy just blows up the minute it touches the enemy, so it's like useless. Also, the second power-up they have also messes up with the explosion power-up, because their other power-up they have is that they have a power-up that makes it so every time a projectiles get blocked by critters, so like critters can, you know, lose 1 HP and block a projectile. This is bad with the explosion power-up, because essentially it means that the critters have less time to block projectiles. For example, what I mean is, like, let's say a critter has 2 HP, and the critter goes to attack a ranged unit. What it'll do is it'll hit the ranged unit, lose 1 HP, but then it's still there for like a second after taking hit, because it has that second HP, and then let's say right after the critter hit the ranged unit for one time, the ranged unit immediately fires right after that. Because the critter is still around because it has 2 HP, it's gonna block one of those ranged projectiles. So that has like, kind of like build going there, where you have like all the extra HP, let your critters block attacks more. The problem is though, if they explode, they're not going to be around for long enough to block those projectiles, because the minute they get to the enemies, they're going to blow up and die. So this kind of contradicts a lot of the stuff that you get. That's the problem with that's why I think like the Swarmers kind of have like a bad power-ups, because a lot of their power-ups straight up contradict each other. Like they don't work. Or specifically the explosion power-up contradicts a lot of stuff, which isn't great. So the one thing that is at least a little better with the explosion power-up is like, while it does suck that it kind of messes up the like extra HP you get, it honestly isn't bad that it messes up the blocking projectile power-up, because that power-up kind of sucks, because there isn't that many range. There's like 2 enemies that give projectiles: the blue enemy that blows up to projectiles, and then the ranged enemy that shoots projectiles. The only one that really matters, that would be useful to blocking projectiles, really, is the ranged enemy. Because like the blue one is like, one, I don't really see it that often, and even when you do, it's just nowhere near as dangerous. Also, all these stuff suck. This is what I want. Okay, this is amazing. Rearm. Constructs repeat their attacks once. This is the must-have power-up for builders, because it lets them double shot. Amazing. Okay, yeah, Swarmer. So the name of this class is Swarmer. Yeah, so I am remembering. Fuse projectiles with lightning that does damage. Do the things that this builder shoot count as projectiles? Do they? Because if so, I might get a Stormweaver. I'm gonna try it. Might as well, because I need a second unit, because you saw that like only having one unit was a little dangerous last round, because I almost lost my builder. So that could have been a little deadly. So having a second unit to like tank some hits would be good. Because even though the Stormweaver doesn't do damage on its own, so if like the sentry dies, and it's only the Stormweaver by itself, I'm essentially dead anyway, thanks to the fact that the Stormweaver can't do damage on its own. But because I put it at the front, that means that the Stormweaver will likely be the one to die first, leaving only the sentry, which is a lot better. And so essentially the Stormweaver is acting as a little bit of extra damage using the Chain Lightning, and is also acting like a human body shield for my sentry, and making sure that the sentry doesn't die first and die super early. So that's why I think like the Stormweaver is like a good idea to get. Even though a lot of the builders won't really fit with it, like for example the mine, the one who drops a mine, that's not a projectile, so it's not going to get the Stormweaver like Chain Lightning, but it is really good with the Sentry, because the Sentry shoots a lot of projectiles, especially since I have that rearm skill. All the projectiles have a chance to summon lightning, and since there's so many, there's going to be a lot of Chain Lightning happening. So actually Stormweaver, Sentry, not a bad combo. Plus, it'll probably be even better when I get Stormweaver and then like Automaton too, because that's another builder that shoots out a lot of projectiles with its little building things, the Automaton one. I don't think Automaton is the name of it, I think Automaton is the name of the thing it builds. I can't remember the actual unit it's called, I just know it makes Automatons. I know it is a sorcerer unit though, it's like a sorcerer builder unit that drops these little Automatons. They're like really cool because they're these little like balls that move around and like go around the map like shooting all the enemies, so it's pretty cool. It's nice. It's quite nice because they shoot a lot, so they're quite fast, which is good. Also, another thing to mention, that merchant is actually really coming in really clutch, because not only does it give me interest, but because it's at the back and I have the Stormboard at the front, my sentry is kind of like completely encased, so he's not taking damage in either the front or the back. So as long as the enemy doesn't like perfectly hit in the middle of the snake, my sentry is completely safe and will almost never be the one to die first, which is great. Because I can't have him die first because he's the one that actually does damage. So that's quite good. Also, these sentries doing some work. Not doing a lot of Chain Lightning right now. Oh wait, I know why. Oh wait, never mind, I'm being stupid. They're not doing Chain Lightning because I literally lost the Stormweaver. I literally got the Stormweaver killed, never mind. I was like, man, they're shooting so much projectiles, but none of them are Chain Lightning? That's kind of weird. I was wondering why, and then I realized, like, bro, what do I mean? There's literally no Stormweaver left. No doubt they're not Chain Lightning. Okay, nothing I want. I'm not gonna re-roll because I want that sweet old whatchamacall interest. I want that good old interest from the merchant. So I don't want to re-roll. Hopefully I can beat the elite with only a single sentry plus Stormweaver. I just gotta make sure I don't take too much damage. It don't really matter if the merchant just takes damage, but I still would rather he don't, because the longer he's alive, the more opportunity he has to act as a meat shield. So I'd rather keep him alive for as long as possible. Okay, this is the thing I was just talking about, where it could be kind of bad if the enemies like perfectly target the middle of my snake, because then I might actually lose a sentry, and I did exactly that. And this is a dead run because the Stormweaver cannot do damage on his own, and these sentries are going to quickly evaporate over time. So this is a dead run. I should have probably bought that cleric. I was literally thinking right before I clicked the like start next wave, like maybe I should buy cleric just for a little bit of healing, even though I do lose interest. But I didn't do that, which means this run is over. I'll go for a cursor. But this cursor doesn't have... There's another... This cursor doesn't have any... He doesn't actually do damage himself. He has to curse... The enemies have to die to release the knives. So I think he needs to be backed up, so I'm going to get a magician. Because he literally can't kill enemies by himself. His curse doesn't do damage by itself. So he has to kill enemies for them to explode. So I need somebody to buff him up. That is, unless he gets the power up, because there's a power up that makes it so that his curse does do damage by itself. Because I remember, because there's a specific, like it was literally the one I was talking about earlier in this video, that there's a specific cursor power up that makes it so that every cursor does, what was it? there's a power-up that makes it so that every cursor... I'm blinking for a second. Every cursor can deal an extra bit of damage. That's what it was. That's what it is. Yeah, I remember. There's a thing that makes it so that every curse does like this specific DOT now. But you have to get that power up though, is the problem. So you gotta get lucky enough that you get it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go for a curse build, and then also you have to kind of go for a second build at the same time, because the reason why is I'm on new game, +2, which means you have like 2 extra snake slots, which means you're gonna have like extra room to go. You have like 2 extra units, so you can go for like 2 builds at once. Because there isn't like, I don't think there's 9 curse units, which means you kind of want to go for a second build at the same time. And so what that second build is probably going to be, a Swarmer build, because I do know that there is a Swarmer cursor, so they kind of like combine together. So if I go for a Swarmer cursor build, that could be good. Could be nice, quite nice. Plus I just like playing with the Swarmer units because they look really cool, because they drop these like little guys, these little critters, like make funny sounds and go attack the enemies, so they're quite cool, even though their power-ups kind of suck. Oh, taking a bit too much damage. Not that much, but could have been bad there. Slowly go around these guys. Luckily, I got a pretty decent amount of units. I already got 40 units, which is more compared to last run. So 40 units is definitely a pretty good thing. Plus, they kind of like combine together. The mage is long range damage. The cursor, helps give you stuff whenever enemies die. And then the warrior helps provide like a good like close range damage plus support, because every time the warrior, I can't remember what this one's called. I think it's the barbarian. Every time the barbarian does his attack, he makes the enemies get afraid and run away in a circle, which prevents them from getting too close to you and like hitting you. So he's kind of like a really good, supporting close range. So right now my sneak is kind of like pretty balanced. Okay. Nope. None of these are good. This is pretty good, but it requires me to have a cursor that actually does damage over time, which I don't currently have, but it's still better than what anything else would get. This is literally the exact thing I want. The Infestor. This is the cursor who's a Swarmer, who makes it so that whenever enemies die, they drop little critters if they're cursed by them. So that's an amazing start. And they also get another upgrade to the Merchant. Amazing start. The problem is I really would like a cursor that can actually do damage though, so I can actually get, value from that extra DOT power up. The problem is I don't have any right now, any cursors who do damage through their curse. In fact, I think I literally have 3 cursors and not a single one of them actually do damage to their curse without the enemy dying first. Because the barbarian, he just freezes enemies with his curse. It doesn't do damage. Jester only does damage when the enemy dies, and causes the enemy to release knives. Swarmer also only does damage when the enemy dies, causing them to drop the little critters. So neither of them are going to be able to get bonuses from that DOT perk unless I get the other perk that makes it so all cursors do damage. But I don't have that yet. I'll get a cleric just because I feel like it's always good to have a little bit of HP, even though the cleric doesn't fit with this build. It's always good to have one because you make mistakes. So it's good to be able to heal back from the mistakes, because oftentimes I will accidentally run my snake right into enemies, so it's good to fix myself up if I do that, because mistakes do happen. They're guaranteed, especially with me. Okay, everybody back to full health. That's nice. We're gonna be having the boss soon in a few waves, so I would like to get my damage up, get some good damage, which I do have a decent amount. The problem though is that a lot of that damage is locked on killing the enemies, because I do a lot of damage when I kill the enemies because I'm releasing so many daggers and so many critters, but it requires that I kill the enemies is the problem. That is the one problem. So I have to kill the enemies first, which is a little slower because I don't have a lot of attackers that do damage. So the only attackers that actually are killing the enemies to release their curses are the mage and the barbarian. And the mage doesn't even fit the build at all. So honestly, I would like to get rid of the mage eventually. I'll get a miner. The reason why is that mercenaries also kind of fit with cursors, because there is a cursor who's a mercenary, so it's also kind of fits the build. Also fits. Plus having the miner, now means we're bumped up to 2 mercenaries right now, which means we're going to get that 8% chance to enemies drop gold, which is nice to have. Especially since we have free space in the snake, so it's not like we're wasting space right now. The only thing we could be wasting is money, because we are spending 2 money to get a miner, but that's completely made up by the fact that you have that 8% chance to drop gold, so we're going to be getting potentially a bunch of gold, which is going to very quickly make up for all the costs that we lose. The only problem is that the miner doesn't really do much damage, because it only does damage whenever you pick up a little thing of gold, which isn't that common. Like, it's common enough that you're going to make up the cost of losing the miner, but not common enough that the miner is actually going to do damage with the gold. You have to be able to get like a huge amount of gold. You really want to get like 4 mercenaries, because then it's bumped up to a 16% chance, which is a lot more reasonable, since enemies, usually come in big hordes. So like a 16% chance means you're probably guaranteed to get at least 1 or 2 gold per, spawn. But I don't have 4 mercenaries because I don't have the Asur yet, which is the other mercenary. That's the cursor. And then what's the 4th? I know there's one more. What's the other mercenary? Because there's the merchant, the Asur, and the miner. What's the 4th one? I can't remember. Oh, the gambler. Yeah, I remember. The gambler is the one who does like X% damage for every. It does X damage for every gold you have, so it kind of requires that you stack humongous amounts of gold, which can be a bit of a problem. Also, the other problem, talking about problems, I'm super low in health, and I lost all my snakes because I was a little distracted talking and did not dodge very well. I was just kind of going in like very lazy circles. I wasn't doing very like tight movements, which might end up getting me killed. Because not only do I only have 2 people left, but they're also super low in health, including the barbarian, who is going to die, leaving only the jester, who can't do nothing, who also died 2 seconds later, which means a quick rerun. And now we have Arcanist and Archer. I don't want to do any of these 2 classes because they're very similar to the class that I won the whatchamacall. It's very similar to, what am I trying to say? The Archer is a Ranger, which I won New Game +1 with, so I don't want to play Ranger. And Arcanists are really similar to Rangers, just in a cooler way. So I don't want to do Arcanist either right now. I want to focus on a different build to beat New Game +2. Either Builders, Swarmers, or Cursors. Which I've tried to do Cursors multiple times. Like, I've had multiple videos where I've done like a Cursor build. Unfortunately, they have not gone very well, as you literally saw with the last run. So hopefully this builder run goes a bit better. Which, I mean, it was going decent. Like, the one I had earlier in this video was going decent until I, made a few unfortunate mistakes. I probably should have bought, like, a cleric or something. Bought something else to, like, help support. Just having like a merchant stormweaver and a single sentry was a little bad, because that puts you in a really dangerous situation where if the sentry ever dies, you can't do any damage, and because you don't have a cleric, you can't even like try to prevent that single sentry guy from dying, because you don't have a cleric to heal. Also, I don't even think this unit is called sentry. I think sentry is just the thing that drops. I'm pretty sure this unit is called the builder or something, isn't it? No, it's called the engineer. Yeah, this is the engineer. So sentries is the thing he drops. His actual name is the engineer. Yeah, so having only one engineer, stormweaver, or merchant was a bit of a bad idea. I should have bought another unit before that boss wave, especially considering I wasn't really killing the wave previous to boss wave that fast. Plus, I was taking a good decent amount of damage. So that probably should have like warned me like, hey, if you couldn't beat the wave previous to the boss wave, what's the likelihood that you're gonna beat the boss wave if you couldn't even beat the one before it? maybe you should like get like 1 or 2 units that don't fit the build, just as like a little bit of damage, you know, and then sell them later when you get stuff that do fit the build. But you know, sometimes you make mistakes, and by sometimes I mean make mistakes, I mean I make this mistake almost every video. Let's be honest, that this mistake is made very often. But I won't make it this run because look, I already got that clarity. I'm already 1 step on the way to the right path again. See, I got a cleric. I'm gonna do right this time. I'm not gonna get completely owned on the boss wave, despite the fact that I actually had like a some really lucky stuff on that builder run. Like getting rearm as my very first power up is like super lucky, since rearm is like doubles the amount of projectiles these guys are spinning since they activate a second time. Like rearm was such an amazing power up, so losing a run where I got it first try, a little sad. But who knows, maybe we get it this time as well. Maybe we instantly get it this run as well. It's potential. Or even if we don't get it, hopefully we get something else that's good. Alright, what else could be good for this builder? I think there's the power up that makes it so the thing in position 3 is extra fast. That could be good because they also summon more sentries. There's also the power up that makes it so your attacks projectiles have a chance to cause chain lightning, so that could be decent because while a lot of the other builders might not shoot projectiles, the sentry does shoot a lot of projectiles, especially with rearm, so getting chain lightning would be decent. So either of those would be good, though preferably still rearm would be the best. It would be the MVP power up to get right now. Oop, don't get cut off. About to get cut off right there. That could be a little dangerous, so I'm gonna try to avoid that. Defeat that guy, then heal, then cutting it close there, but I did actually escape. Just pick up all these little healing orbs, and more and more and more, and more and more and more, and more and more and more healing orbs. Okay, we have one more wave left after I beat this one. It is going a little slow, having only 1 sentry, especially because these sentries are kind of missing a lot. They're missing a lot of their shots, in fact, because they're like amazing against big crowds, because you know, big crowds, you know, you can't really miss your shot. There's so many enemies that your projectiles have to hit something. But against like single 1 or 2 enemies, they do struggle a little bit more, though not as bad as like the ranger builder, you know, the one who like makes that little turret that spins around the circle and shoots at 4 different directions. That one is extremely inaccurate, dude. I keep mentioning it like constantly in videos, but I kind of keep saying it, dude. It is like the worst ranger, just due to the fact that it's so inaccurate it barely can do anything. Okay. Nope, all these are horrible for my thing. Projectile damage honestly wouldn't be bad because he does do direct projectile, so I think I will probably get ballista. Not bad. Man, talking about it, literally right here, the sentry, the thing that shoots in 4 different directions, making it kind of inaccurate. I'm also going to get a Stormweaver since I think it'll combo pretty well. Put this guy right here. I have a Stormweaver right there. That should be good positioning for them. Also, because I have 2 builders, they get the builder bonus, which I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I will check after I beat these waves. I will check what it is. I think it's something like the things get built faster or they last longer. I can't remember exactly, but something like that. But yeah, now I got the sentry, which I literally was joking this entire time and talking about how the sentry sucks because it's super inaccurate because it shoots in 4 different directions and constantly spins. So you can't even really try to lead the enemies into it because the fact that it constantly spins means it's constantly shooting at different directions. So you can't even like lure the enemies properly into its path. Because like, let's say if it spawned, let's say if it shoots in 4 different directions, but it spawned in 1 set position and didn't spin, you can just lead the enemies right underneath it, and that would be fine. But because it spins, you know, by the time you lead the enemies underneath it, it's going to like completely spin out the way and miss, which is a bit of a problem. Though it's still fine if there's a huge group of enemies because you can't miss then if there's like a million targets. Except sometimes it does though, actually. Sometimes it does still miss is the problem. Okay, so here's what it is. Yeah, they have extra 25% extra damage and duration, so that's pretty good. Quite nice. That's going to pair together with the ballista thing that's giving me more damage to my projectiles as well. So now my projectile building construct should be doing like 75% more damage because of those two buffs combined, which is nice. Let me see those Stormweaver chain lightnings go off. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Stormweaver, great for the turret, not as good for the sentry, because while sentry does shoot projectiles and shoots 4 of them, it only really gets 1 of them off actually hitting an enemy, and it shoots not that common. It shoots pretty slowly, so it's actually not really getting that many hits off, which means it's not, with less hits, it means less probability that you're going to actually get a chain lightning off. So it's not as good as Stormweaver. Still decent, but not as good. Okay, be careful, there is a ranged unit. Don't let him shoot his projectiles right into my snake. And there's one more wave right after this one. So be careful not to get spawned right on top of, because that does happen. Okay, they're only spawning in the left corner. That should be easy then. Easy, easy. Finish it up. And we should have a boss wave soon, I think. Arena clear. When's the boss wave? Right now, in fact. Okay, merchant and a sentry. I said that backwards. Do I want to upgrade anything? No, I'll save it. I should be good. I should be good. This should hopefully be, like, I have 2 builders and like a Stormweaver stuff. This should hopefully be enough damage to beat. This should be enough damage to beat the first boss. As long as I don't like stupidly mess up and get immediately killed because I ran into the enemies. As long as I like pay attention, make sure to get good heals off, and don't run into enemies too much, this should be easily enough to beat the first boss. Just don't let like the enraged like green enemies hit me too much. Oh, my Stormweaver is about to die. Please don't. I tried to lead him away. He did survive, but he might die right now though. Dodge, dodge. I'm trying to get these heals, but I keep getting cut off. Every time I try to get these heals off, I keep getting cut off. Also, they're all gonna rage right into my snake, which is bad. Okay, that's a lot of enemies right now. And they're all cutting me off, and they're about to rage because of the boss ability. Ooh, I just lost so much units. Now all I have is my sentry, and a cleric, and 1 merchant, which is not very good damage, especially considering the boss still has half of its health and HP left, which is very unfortunate. The only good thing is because the only good thing about this is that since I only have 3 snakes, it's going to make it a lot easier to dodge, since, you know, small snake means you can get like a lot like cleaner short dodges. Okay, now I lost another unit though, and I don't remember which one. Was that the cleric or was it the sentry? It was the cleric. Okay, that's kind of good. Never mind. I was gonna say it's good because at least I still have a bit damage, but I can't heal anymore. I can't do either now because both my cleric and my sentry die, and all I have is the single merchant who can't do any damage by himself, and that's the end of this run. That's the end of this run, which means we're doing another run right after. Okay, a cryomancer and a silencer. Extra attack speed. Maybe we'll do a cursor run. Another curse run with a cryomancer making them shoot faster, or maybe we do a mage run actually. Maybe we do a mage cursor run. Yeah, I haven't tried a mage cursor run. The problem is neither of these two actually do damage. So I think what I need to do is buy the archer to back one of them up, because neither do damage. So what I'll do is look at archer plus chronomancer. I don't really want to keep the archer because I beat the game with the ranger once, so I don't want to use rangers. But I have to use it for at least this one turn because neither of those 2 units do damage. So while I probably would be able to still win even though they don't do damage, because this is only the first level, so I probably would just be able to like run into them. But I'm not 100% confident that they wouldn't die for sure on New Game Plus 2, so I don't want to try that. Though it probably would work. Okay, now what I'm going to do, buy the silencer. And then I will, and I'm gonna keep the, I want to get rid of the ranger as soon as I can because I don't want to use rangers. But I will have to keep one for one more round until I get at least one other like cursor or mage unit that can actually do damage. Because I don't know if these two units could just melee through the entirety of wave level 2. Because level 2 is a little stronger than level 1. You know, it has 3 waves instead of 2. So it's a decent amount of units. That I don't know if like 2 units worth of HP would be enough to like just melee all the enemies. They probably would considering how early it is, but I want to be on the safe side and not lose this potentially good run. Well, now we're going to test it out because I just lost all my people. In fact, I think when we test it out, we're going to find out that 2 units of HP is not enough because, especially when I die, especially when I end up losing them all because I get knocked projectiles. And yep, I can confirm 2 units of HP is definitely not enough to just melee everything. It wasn't even enough to melee 1 wave worth. So that's another restart. Another engineer, another build run, another builder run. Okay, so we've got another engineer, hopefully get rearmed pretty early. And hopefully we get another builder like a sentry or the carver who makes a little healing totems, or maybe the mine guy who drops the mines. Those would be really good to start off with early. Hopefully we get one of them. And then what build will we be doing with the builders? What build has overlapping with the builders? I know there's healers because there's carvers, there's sorcerers because there's automatons, but I don't want to do sorcerers because they're very similar to rangers, so I don't want to do like a sorcerer build. What other things overlap? There's nukers, I think. Yeah, we can do nukers because I'm pretty sure the mine, the builder who drops mine is a nuker, so we could do that. So wizard and then merchant. So we'll do a builder nuker run. Now all we need to do is just get like the one who drops mines. That's what we need to get. Don't let the ranged guy shoot me. That could be bad. Be careful. Let my sentries get the damage in. To be honest, for a second I completely forgot what this mage was doing. This is like the nuker mage. I completely forgot what he was even doing. I was like, who is this guy? I completely forgot like within 2 seconds, so I bought him. I was like, huh? Who is this guy? For a second, I literally thought he was a chronomancer. I thought I was in like my previous builder run. I was like, oh, my chronomancer, my merchant. I'm having like deja vu. Okay, another nuker, a sage. Okay. I'm gonna move it like this so the merchant's in the back taking the hits. And then I'll keep this stuff like here. So if you have 3 nukers, extra area damage and size, and then all the other stuff. Okay, 1 green guy, be a good distance so that they don't enrage right into me, which they were about to, but luckily I was far enough that the thing ran off before they could get me. Now we got the little sage, making the enemies go super far away, which can be useful for the boss wave when there's a lot of enemies crowding around you, so having that sage will probably come really handy once we get to the boss wave. Also, this should be the wave where you get a power up, I'm pretty sure. This is the power up wave. So because of that, I'm gonna pray to RNGesus that we get a rearm power up. Please let it happen. Or at least like, I don't know, like a area of effect increase power ups through nukers, or the power up that makes it so that position 3 shoots super fast. Having one of those would be great. Oh, getting my units run right into. Be careful. Dodge. And should be good. Last wave, and they're dead. I can just run right into them. Wave essentially finished. Arena clear. Okay, so what do you get? Literally the thing I was saying I want. Perfect. Amazing luck. Got myself an amazing rearm right there. I'm making a cleric just in case. It's always good to get a cleric decently early until I get the carver because I make mistakes pretty often, so I want to have that bit of HP to make up for it. need to have a little bit of healing to make up for any mistakes I make, because I know I'm gonna make it. I know I'm gonna end up running into enemies, because that always happens. No matter what, it is essentially a rule of the world. It's a law of the world that I eventually run right into an enemy randomly and lose a bunch of my health. Essentially a law of nature that I do that. That I run my snake right to enemy and lose half of its HP. That's why I want to always have some kind of cleric or priest or carver or whatever. Preferably the carver, considering this is a builder run, but I haven't found it yet, so we're gonna have to wait. And I probably won't find it before the boss fight, unless I'm lucky. That's why I went ahead and got the cleric now. Just to be safe, on the safe side. Okay, one blue guy and a bunch of red guys. Blue guy pretty easy to defeat since he only drops a projectile when he only drops an exploding projectile when he dies, which is pretty easy to dodge as long as you don't mess up, which I oftentimes do. But even when I do mess up, it doesn't do that much crazy damage compared to like the white guy, the white ranged enemy who does like a huge amount of damage with his ranged projectiles compared to the blue guy. So honestly, the blue guy is super non-existent threat compared to the other ranged guy. Compared to the white ranged enemy, the blue guy is nothing. Be careful, I'm getting cornered off. The bee goes up top. Avoid them. My snake is a little slow though, so it is a little harder to get, away from them before they cut me off. So maybe a centipede power would be good. Honestly, I keep thinking it's not. Every time I see it, I'm like, I feel like something else would be better than the centipede. But honestly, centipede probably would actually be pretty good considering how slow I am. I think I'm looking down centipede power a little too much. Also, this is in our builder, the one I've been talking about previously in other builder runs, the Artificer. He's the one who drops a little automaton to shoot projectiles pretty fast. So it's quite good. Plus, because it's a builder, now I have two builders, which means they last longer and do more damage, which is quite nice. Now we're in the elite. Luckily, we got another builder to do damage, which is quite nice. Now all we need is the decoy power up, which makes it so that like constructs can like distract the enemy. That could be good, especially with the automaton, because the automaton randomly walks around the map, so it can like end up leading the enemy super far away from you. So that could be really good to get right now. I hope I do get it. Hopefully I do. Also, have I seen? Okay, first, what's the weird thing? I was literally about to say, did I ever sell that ranger? I completely forgot that was another run. What am I talking about? No duh, I didn't sell the ranger. That was literally the last one that I had a ranger. I saw this green unit on the back. I was like, oh, my ranger. Why did I never sell it? I don't want it anymore. Because this isn't a ranger. It's a cleric. That was another run. Centipede. That's the thing I was already talking about. I would like, because it would give me that little bit extra speed I might need. But also Reinforced could be good if I get like the Storm Reaver again. Reinforced could be really nice actually. Reinforced or Centipede? I'm going for Reinforced actually. I feel like it might be better. Okay, not getting any of these. Don't re-roll because that's too much money spending, and I'd rather save my money so I get a lot of interest using the merchant. Okay, two blue enemies shouldn't be too much of a threat as long as I avoid being hit. Which I think my cleric got slightly hit, but it did like no damage, so it's fine. The cleric will just heal it back up all its HP, so it's pretty good. Okay, two green guys. Make sure they don't enrage the enemies right into me. That could be dangerous. Luckily, they didn't do it too much. Though my mage nuker enemy, I can't remember what this one's called, is taking a lot of damage. Who just died there? Oh, it's my artificer. That's kind of sad. He's like a really good builder, so I did not like losing him. That's quite bad. Ooh, and I just lost to the mage. Yeah, that's also kind of bad. I need to avoid losing enemies because there's still an entire wave left. So let me start healing up, please. Talking about healing, it would be really good if I get the carver soon, because I have the extra duration. That should mean I get even more heals from the carver statue, since I have that builder build going. So it'd be really good to get the carver for all that good heals that builder all the extra like builders that I get. Because once I get a carver, that's 3 builders. All I have to do is get one more builder after that, like the explosion one. So yeah, wizard. Also talking about this guy. So the mage at the front is called a wizard. Buy 2 of these. So yeah, getting a carver would be great. Also getting the stormweaver, so we can start getting that bonus from the reinforced power up we got. Also getting that chain lightning from the stormweaver would also be good. So getting a stormweaver would be great. Hopefully we get one soon, like I did for the previous runs. Because previous runs I got it super early. So hopefully I get it slightly earlier this run. Obviously it's not going to be as early as the other runs, since those runs immediately got it. But hopefully we don't get it too late this run. Because it honestly is kind of weird that I've gotten it so early in like my previous runs. Because it's actually like a pretty rare unit. As you can see from the fact that like it costs like what, 2 or 3 gold. So it's actually a pretty rare unit. So honestly, I'm kind of surprised I got it so early so many times in a row. So all I hope is I get it early this run as well, since I think it'd really fit good. I mean, that's the whole reason why I bought the reinforced power up, is expecting that I'll get a stormweaver soon. Okay, arena cleared. That was pretty easy. As long as I keep a good distance, I easily can survive, especially using that like sage who's like, you know, corralling the enemies super far away from me. That makes it a lot easier to stay away and stay far from them, thanks to sage's like attraction projectile, whatever it is, like the little like thing that attracts all the enemies to it. Makes it a lot easier to keep far distance from the enemy, which is good. Because I don't want to be anywhere near the enemy, I want to take damage, and there's no good reason to be near the enemies because I'm playing with builders, so they just spawn sentries that do the damage, so I don't need to be close to the enemies like I am with a warrior. So being as far as I can is the best situation for me. Two more waves after this. Almost got hit, but I didn't. It is unfortunate now I have no more turrets left though, because my sentry died so early, and finally all of his turrets are now worn off, which sucks. That was a really bad sorcerer attack. Literally all the enemies were like bundled up in like one big group. Thanks to the sage's attack, yet the sorcerer, instead of attacking all these bundled up enemies, it attacked the one enemy that wasn't in the sage attack, which sucks. Also, talking about the sage, never mind. I was gonna say the sage is the only enemy I have left. I mean, unit I have left, so that's really bad. But now I don't even have the sage. All I have is a single merchant and a cleric, which is quite bad because they don't really have the damage necessary to, you know, defeat an entire wave on themselves. The only way to win is if the cleric keeps healing, which is exactly what it's not gonna do. And that's another death. Well, you know, I wasn't expecting this video to go that amazing because I'm rusty, you know. I haven't played SNKRX in like 2 weeks. And even when I was playing SNKRX a lot, a video every other day, I wasn't doing that good. So, you know, I gotta get the rust off. Next video of SNKRX will be the one where I actually win. Well, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and bye.